In 2012, you opened your second gym. So there was some years of development, some adversity that you've overcome.
Yeah.
Would you say that has helped you condition yourself to face that opportunity for growth and say no when it's the right time?
It's a great question because we opened our first one. That was a 5-year delay, and then over the next, I think it's been like the last 5 years, we opened up 5 gyms. Right. And I think, yes and no. First of all, we opened in August 2007, which was just before the Great Crash. So besides all that pain and suffering and trying to get lending and opening and learning a business and really losing everything, I finally got that money and then we walked right into a recession. So I was like, Jesus, is this really meant to be? Really, what else? Is this just God saying, this isn't meant for you, just stop now? And, I had to just kind of say, well, I still believe, right? And so there was times of probably 3 years, it wasn't about growth, it was about survival. I wasn't paying myself. Right after we opened the gym, I slept in a van for a week because I couldn't pay my electric and certain things at my houses. And the gas, I could just turn the thing on and sleep in the van. There's nothing worse than having zero money in your bank. I couldn't get a small coffee. My debit card got rejected. To say, what the hell did I do? I lost everything. So there was just trying to save the first one. Just because we were open didn't mean things were going well. I remember being in the gym and there's 3 other people working out. I go, wow, I spent the most, I paid more money than most people would ever think in buying properties to build my own gym to work out in with a few friends. You know what I mean? That's what I felt like. I was like, if this is the way it stays, I'm done. I can't have a 20,000 square foot gym working out with 3 people and me. So it was about learning the gym business. It was trying to figure out there was so much debt. I was in so much debt and we were bleeding. So I took on some
years.
It took probably up really to when we opened up Graduate Hospital, that 5 years until doing that one the right way, because I learned so much that flipped the script saying, hey, this actually can work. You can actually make money sooner than later. People really want this. You're not a failure. That's when it really happened, because I couldn't get my own credit card.
So sticking with it long enough to realize that the success came from what you learned.
Yeah. Still learning. But yeah, it was learning under fire. Basically, it was like, all right, this one we're open, but I'm losing still $40,000 a month. And where does that come from? I had to get some friends and family investors and just walk the street and ask people, hey, would you like to invest so I could pay payroll? So that happened for a good 2 years out before we stabilized. And then obviously the economy still wasn't great, but it wasn't as tanked that I wasn't making any money, but I wasn't losing a ton of money. And I could now look at all my debt and say, holy crap, how do I pay this off? Not just the business debt, but first of all, it's an LLC, so it's all my debt. But even personal debt. I maxed out all my credit cards. My 401k was gone. I had no savings anymore. I didn't have a job in commercial real estate anymore. I couldn't do all that.
What did they tell you to go walk?
Well, CoStar did. Yeah. Besides my investment ones, I sold those properties to keep this going. So I was able, and I took a bath because I was selling out of need instead of out of want. But it gave me enough to keep this going. So those properties were gone, except for the ones that weren't doing well that I couldn't sell. So I was getting sucked from that. And then the company I worked for, that was an informational provider for commercial real estate, that got me started in all this, basically said, we found out you own another business. Even though I was still one of the top 3 salespeople in the region, they fired me because they thought the conflict of interest wasn't a conflict of businesses. It was a conflict of monopolizing my time. Even though nothing showed that on my production.
Was that a blessing in disguise?
It was because while I was working that, and it was helping me, it was only putting a finger in a couple of the holes, because until I got into this business and learned it all and made it work and not depend on other people and focused on it, I would have lost it because I would have been focused. You're not focused on both. I need to work a full-time job and keep this afloat. You can't do it. You couldn't do it, especially in an economy like that. So I had to change my business model, change a few things that really helped us, stem the tide of debt. And then once I could breathe, I had to then look at all my debt and how do I make a plan to pay that off, because this company will go nowhere without it, and to keep it growing. But then to a point where I could pay myself for it, right? And make sure that I can make a living. And all that was just a process over those 5 years. So by the time we got to the next one, I learned a ton and found a great location, which I was good at, found a great landlord. His name's David Grasso, who believed.
Oh, David, I know.
Yes, great guy. My 21st and South, we had long negotiations and, they fell apart many times. We both got along with each other very well, but, we had a common goal, but obviously he's a businessman and I needed certain things and I respected him and he respected me. We got this great deal done that was beneficial for me and beneficial for him. But more importantly, David, I think probably took a little bit more of a loss to know that having a fitness club in the Graduate Hospital area was going to be good for the area. He's a big fitness person.
Yeah, he is.
And that's sometimes what I need to find. We're not always, a Class A tenant. Now we're looked at a lot different.
Yeah.
Gyms are. They weren't looked at as, they were looked at as like, oh God, what are we going to do? Like, if we can't get anybody else, let's get a gym, right? And we can't always pay the top rent that other, people could pay. So you need to find an owner that sees the bigger value.
An owner that sees the value in you.
And me and the business, but also what it does for the area. Like, we've been very fortunate and part of what I've been able to do is get into neighborhoods just before they really blossom. And I really believe we play a big part in that because, again, people come and have a fitness club like I was looking for way back when is a big part of their life and helps build a community. I have residential people, real estate people come to me and say, thank you. You've now just helped our lives tremendously. People want to move here now. It raises the price of housings, because it builds a community. It's a real anchor.